shit, we hate playing against that Australian side because we know they're going to be chirping that whole bloody day. In 2024 IPL, it pretty much all began. Couldn't do it. I was like too scared. Stuffing up on camera kind of thing, you know, interviewing people and I stutter.
Has the response been better? Has it been, you know, from the Australian crowd, the Indian crowd? What's your audience looking like for you right now?
I mean, I was a little bit surprised. People not knowing Pat Cummins and Travis Head, considering we'd just come from an amazing 2023 campaign, the 2024 campaign. Rohit Sharma, I did Sachin Tendulkar, I did David Warner.
Yeah.
I think I even did one on Babar Azam. Not many people knew him, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why.
Does Australia love BGT more than it does love a World Cup more?
I kid you not, every time he sees me, he gets so excited. Ricky Ponting and Michael Clark.
Yeah.
Geez, they had it all, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, that aggression, that fire,
Adam Gilchrist,
getting
Matthew
stuck
Hayden.
into the opposition, and that's what it's about. You know, put a bit of fear into them. All right, guys, welcome back to.
Boys and girls, it's nice to be back once again. When it comes to cricket in India, right? When it comes to the fan culture, we all treat it as a religion of sorts. But when you go to Australia, it's a championship side there when it comes to cricket, but when it comes to the fan culture, it's more of a 50-50 kind of a split. And I have someone who represents the Australian fan culture, someone who's been there in Australia and now is on the Indian streets as well. He's been doing vox pops here. He's been in the content creation space for cricket for quite some while now, I would say. He's a West Ham fan, as you can tell, apart from being an Aussie. Thank you so much, Jake, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Let's quickly start off with my first question. Was this always your plan?
No. If you told me, we'll say, I've been doing this maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Interesting.
If you told me back in 2023, we'd say, that I'd be sitting here right now in Mumbai after watching a semi-final, India versus England, I would have just laughed at you. I would have been like, what's this guy on? Like, seriously, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
And no, that's just a plain answer is 100% no.
Okay. How did this entire thing begin, right? Because back in 23, when I saw you first, I think all of us started associating you with Sam Curran. You know, that's where it all began. We saw you go out, do a lot of vox pop, ask a lot of questions. I think you enjoyed it and we enjoyed watching you as well, which is currently what you do as well.
Well, now it's story time.
Yeah, which is
now it's proper story time.
Yeah.
So back in 2023, I first came to India when I think it was like 19.
Okay.
And I came with one of my mates, and I was actually close to pulling out of that trip.
Okay.
Like, you got no idea how close I was because we'll just say on a boys' trip in
Bombay.
Not Bombay, in Bali beforehand.
Okay.
Boys' trip in Bali. And then also we went to Vietnam afterwards, and one thing led to another. I got quite sick over there. You know how it is. And zip my lips there. And I was coming to India afterwards to watch the BGT game between Australia versus India in Delhi. Okay. And I got really sick in Vietnam. I called my parents. I'm like, I want to come home. I'm quite sick. And my dad goes, nah, you've got to come. And also had a mate who was waiting for me over here in Delhi. And he goes to all the Australian games, and he really wanted me to come. So I'm like, you know what, all right. And I'm so glad I did, because if I didn't, 100% none of this would have happened.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't have gone to the 2023 World Cup. I wouldn't be going to the IPL. I would just probably be stuck at my 9 to 5.
You weren't following the sport before that?
I was always a massive cricket fan, loved playing cricket, but I wasn't avid in making videos as such.
Okay.
I mean, I'd always, probably wouldn't say I'd attend 100% of the games back home. Yeah. But I did love cricket growing up. Played it pretty decent myself. Probably not as good to make it into the Australian side. You know, the old injuries excuse. But you know, I was decent. Yeah. And then in 2023, it put a spark in me, kind of thing. And then after the BGT, I said, you know what, I'm going to attend the whole World Cup.
Interesting.
And I wasn't creating videos, and I wish I was, because it would have been absolutely amazing. Yeah. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? As you probably know.
Yeah, crazy. And
I just fell in love with cricket over in India. I obviously have just seen a few videos during 2023. Yeah. Of me from other people. Yeah. And I just enjoyed interacting with people, you know, and making people laugh, etc. I think it was in Dharamshala. I did a Bharat Mataki video, which
Wow.
I'm sure you've probably seen somewhere on the internet at some point.
Yeah.
And in 2024 IPL, it pretty much all began. I wouldn't say full time.
I think it was also in 23 IPL. You were still there.
To a degree, yeah. In 2023, I probably was putting myself out there. Wasn't making videos online, didn't have really much of an online presence.
Yeah.
But I did come across to people, interacted, etc.
Yeah.
And took some photos, being that kind of like token Australian fan that's traveling throughout the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then 2024 basically all began pretty much.
Yeah.
And that was the story.
Did you go back home and think and ponder upon and say, this is what I would look at as a full-time gig? Something that kind of pays me and rewards me in the future?
Not really, to be honest. I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
Like, I'll be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted, I don't know, I always wanted to go out and interview people. And I wanted to, I think it was during some finals campaign. I was going to do it in Australia, so AFL, different sport back home. And
Which sport is that?
AFL, Australian rules football.
Okay.
And I was going to do some vox pops there in associated with that sport, but I just couldn't do it. I was like too scared of stuffing up on camera kind of thing, interviewing people, and I stutter, make an absolute fool out of myself.
Yeah.
But in IPL 2024, I made my first, you could say, video as such. And it was on Marine Drive. I'll never forget it, that sign.
Mumbai.
Yeah, in Mumbai. So Mumbai is already, it's got a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I always rewatch it back, and I show people my first video, and I've completely changed since then in terms of just the confidence I've grown, the way I interact with people more, on camera, more fluently. Yeah. Back then, I was like, "Hi, I'm here with," and then they answer, "Now, who's your favorite cricketer?" And then they'd answer like that, and it was just so awkward looking back. But I guess everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my beginning occurred. So I did 2 to 3 weeks during IPL 2024 during that period. And that was absolutely amazing. But at the same token, I had another job back home, which I had to juggle.
Okay.
And so I tried to smash out as many videos as I could. And it went well. It went really well. I remember there was this, because I was supporting Sunrisers back then as well.
Was it because of Kavya or in just the team?
Kavya is a factor. Nah, it was also just Sunrisers are just like through and through for me now. Paddy Cummins, Travis Head.
Australians. And I think 24 is where Sunrisers peaked as well.
Yeah,
with the kind of batting that they put on display. And then in 25, 25 we knew that this is what they're going to look like.
They left their run too late in 2025. I mean, that's another story. They probably should have made the finals, but they just left their run too late, which is really disappointing. But look, 2026 a new year. I'm confident. I think Sunrisers will lift the trophy this year. We can go back to this podcast shoot 4 months from now. Yeah. And be like, Jake told you so.
Yeah. I think it's going to be CSK's year this year. But
CSK? Yeah. What is the reasoning behind that?
I just think it's a part of their revival with, Sanju getting back in there. And, the entire team getting back to their 6th title, I think.
The Sunrisers batting power. Bowling, you could argue. Yeah. I mean, bowling-wise, I don't think everyone's going, oh, you're not going to be able to defend 250. But it's like, Pat Cummins has got 4 overs there. They're crucial in an IPL game for Sunrisers. And then the bowlers also aren't bad, but batting-wise...
Isn't Pat out with injury?
No, he's back for IPL. He's back? Yeah, trust me. He's giving me the inside information.
It's the money?
No. It's just the enjoyment of IPL, Sunrisers, it's like a massive, one big family in Hyderabad. Yeah, they're so welcoming.
I had to ask you, right, from what you were saying, you said your videos did well. You kind of took this up and thought, this is something that you should go with and do. Where has the response been better? Has it been, from the Australian crowd, the Indian crowd? What's your audience looking like for you right now?
Oh, definitely Indian. Yeah. I think Indian people love just the videos that I do. Yeah. And it's absolutely amazing. I walk into cricket stadiums when someone comes up to me, I love your videos. Yeah. And that's just all I need. Yeah. That's just the motivation that I need to continue keep going. As long as I'm making people happy and they're enjoying watching my stuff, that's enough for me. Yeah. But in Australia as well, I do get people come up to me sometimes in the street. Whenever I play a cricket game when I'm back home.
Yeah. Is like the backyard cricket now?
Oh, I do backyard cricket. Yeah, we have a backyard cricket page. Yeah. Play with a bunch of mates. So I think there's like a good group of 8 of us. Nice. We do sometimes 4v4.
Interesting.
It's always good. It's always good fun. Sometimes we absolutely drop sitters. Like you can Yeah, I've dropped a couple myself.
Okay.
My friends have dropped some, but it's really good fun. It's good banter, and we doctor the pitches to make it an absolute turning pitch. Also pace so it bounces up, proper like the old whacker cricket pitches. But yeah, when I play back home as well, like proper decent level cricket, I cop stages.
Wow.
Like you've never heard it. You've never heard the stages.
I kind of saw, some of the videos where I think you were on the Australian streets, during BGT, or maybe I think there was
a little bit before BGT.
Yeah,
I think it's the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you were kind of asking the Australians as to, do you know who Pat Cummins is, and who, and some of them weren't even aware. While some did know who their cricketers were, some of them were kind of not aware. So what was your reaction to that? Because you sort of like I mentioned at the start, I think with Australians it's like 50% love their cricket fans, 50% are still not aware about who their players are.
Yeah.
Why is it like?
I think it's a mixture between the two. So I think in Australia we've got a vast majority of sport. We've got rugby league, we've got AFL, we've got the basketball, we've got football, and then you've got your cricket as well. So that's like 5 sports, and also on top of that tennis, golf. So you could probably and the F1 people get behind, and then you can even add in the sailing. So that's 8 big sports there, and then you got your Olympic years, etc. So I'd like to say there'd probably be about 10 main sports there, and it's for population of 24 million. Where I'm from, Perth, there's like 2.3 million. So that's probably the population of this suburb that we're in right now here in Mumbai doing this podcast. But no, in Perth, I went out and looking back, geez, I did some cringe videos. I'll tell you, I can't believe I went and did that back home, asking people, do you know who Travis Head and Pat Cummins is? But look, it was a good period. It was fun. That was kind of the beginning of my YouTube journey. So I started that. It was September or October 2024. So we're about a year and a half now on YouTube, and we did it for Instagram as well. But I mean, I was a little bit surprised, people not knowing Pat Cummins and Travis Head, considering we'd just come from a
World Cup
amazing 2023 campaign. The 2024 campaign also just finished where India won the World Cup. And then it also wasn't Travis Head and Pat Cummins. I also did Rohit Sharma. I did Sachin Tendulkar. I did David Warner. I think I even did one on Babar Azam. Not many people knew him, but I mean, I don't know why. No disrespect to Babar, he's a good player. I did Virat Kohli. So we did a range of players. It was kind of like a series kind of thing. I probably won't do it again because I don't think
I think it always works.
I mean, look, it's a different idea. No one really did it, and I think the Indian media picked it up over here as well. These Australians don't know Travis Head and Pat Cummins, and I think they were surprised as well. I mean, but look, I mean, a lot of people do love cricket in Australia. Don't get me wrong. We saw with the Ashes, the crowds were full. People will get behind it, and it's good. BGT as well. People will get behind it. Whenever Australia is playing, I mean, the 2020 World Cup, I think was probably the least anticipation build up for it, but that's due to a lot of factors. It's our media in Australia not picking it up. Not posting on the social media. The broadcasting back home. They're not posting enough kind of thing, and then it doesn't get people excited. Whereas if you put a proper build up, me or whatever, whoever it is, going out onto the streets, building some reels or whatever, trying to get people hyped up to support the Australian team, then that makes a world of difference. But look, during Ashes BGT, but the bilateral in the summers, a lot of people get behind the Australian cricket team, and it's really good. I mean, even back home, people will be on their TV. Boxing Day, it's like it's a public holiday for us.
Just because you mentioned BGT as well, also to go back to one of those episodes where I saw, I think Australia did win, beat India in the ODI World Cup. No, sorry, I think they beat them in the T20 World Cup, right?
In 2024?
In 24.
India won that World Cup? 2023.
No, 23.
2023 ODI World Cup.
ODI World Cup. I think there was Pat Cummins who was back home with the trophy, and there was no one to receive him at the airport of sorts, which is what I saw. And I think the media was kind of creating like a parallel that in India, if this happened, we'd be on the streets and we'd be at the airports and all. But in Australia, it's kind of different now. Which brings me to my next aspect. Something that I've been thinking is, does Australia love BGT more than it does love a World Cup more?
It's a tough one. I mean, I think it's...
Or I would say, does Australia love its Ashes more than it loves a World Cup more? I think it's a better way to put it.
It's always good being the Poms in whatever you do as an Australian. I'll be honest right there. Seeing England lose last night, I was low-key just screaming inside with happiness. But I don't know, it's always good winning a World Cup. And I think, you mentioning that the people weren't receiving Pat Cummins at the airport, I think it's just the difference in cultures.
Yeah.
And, that's fine. In Australia, we're very chill, very relaxed, and we... you give the players kind of their space soon as you come back from India, and we're not going to, possess over them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in India, I think it's really passionate because cricket, like you said, it's a religion over here, and it's just the difference in the two cultures. Whereas Australia's got a lot of sports. Yeah. India, cricket's a religion. You'll see anyone playing there. Yeah. Out in the streets playing cricket, and I think it's good. And it's good the reception, the support that the Indian supporters give to the players. After that World Cup win in 2024, I saw the scenes on Wankhede or Marine Drive. That was amazing. And I would love that to be in Australia, but I just know it's not going to happen.
True.
It will never happen. There will never be crowds and crowds full. Yeah. I remember my dad telling me a story back when Australia won the World Cup. I can't remember when it was, but he was with his mates and he was going to went out to the city in Perth with an Australian flag in the car, and cops pulled him over and he goes, "What are you doing?"
Oh.
And he goes, "We've just won the World Cup, mate." He goes, nah, no one knows. And there was absolutely no one. He thought the streets were going to be packed, and that's just the way it's been in Australia, and that's why it's always going to be.
Yeah.
Well, whereas in India, you got your passion, etc. But it's just a difference in cultures, that's, in my opinion. But yeah, back to your question, I think, I think it's always good. I think ODI is kind of what Australia fans focus on, whereas I wish it's the three formats: your WTC, your T20, your ODI cricket, and your Champions Trophy. I love to win every trophy. Yeah, if Australia goes undefeated the rest of my life.
Because I think this year, this World Cup was a surprise to many. Considering that there was like a Travis Head in there, Mitch Marsh, and all of them. Obviously you're lacking Josh Hazelwood, Pat Cummins. I'm sure you wanted them in the squad as well. But I mean, at times it happens, and I'm sure they're going to bounce back, better. Yeah,
look, I think with the injuries though, it's not really an excuse. In Australia, I don't think we use injuries as an excuse because we still had a really good attack. Nathan Ellis, you had Zampa still there. Xavier Bartlett's more than capable. You had Ben Dwarshuis. I think it was more the batting side of things let us down. Mitch Marsh was a huge out against Zimbabwe. He might have proved the difference. We saw how he played against Sri Lanka. And it's just our batting collapses that let us down as well. Against Sri Lanka. We should have really put on 230, 240, and it could have been a different story. We might have been playing in the semi-final in Kolkata or Wankhede, who knows. But I mean, like you said, you can't really do much about it now. Just start crying.
Have you had a chance to kind of be in close quarters with the Australian players?
Majority of them know who I am. I've been told that they've seen my videos and they've liked them. They've seen the majority of my stuff. But yeah, Paddy Cummins, whenever I see him, give him a wave. But I'm not going to go and intrude or just stamp out at the hotels because that's just not who I am. If I see him, they want to come have a chat, more than welcome to, but I'm not going to disturb them.
I was coming to that because I wanted to ask you, a lot of people speak about the Australian mentality, which is a thing in sport which sits right up here because the kind of Australian mentality that players have. I think if you look at cricket around the world, players would want to have the Australian mentality, which is they're fearless, they love their sport, they, there's a certain kind of way they approach their cricket as well. Are you, would you be able to break that down for us in terms of just, kind of understanding?
I think it's just the Australian culture, never give up. And I think that's what, it's a little bit disappointing during the T20 World Cup because our resilience, our fight, determination, I'll never forget it. Tim David letting a ball just roll past him without him bother chasing it. But what's the point? If you're not going to, perform for the badge kind of thing, have a bit of pride and respect. But I think the players of old, your Ricky Ponting, your Michael Clark. Geez, they had it all, didn't they? That aggression, that fire,
Adam Gilchrist,
getting stuck into the opposition, and that's what it's about. Put a bit of fear into them. Be like, oh, shit, we hate playing against that Australian side because we know they're going to be chirping that whole bloody day. And it gets into the player's head, and that's what I love. I love an Australian side that's chirpy. I wouldn't say this. I love the sledging.
I think sledging is a part of
it. It is. There's obviously that line. As long as you don't cross that line, get personal, then that's fine. But getting stuck into them, and that's the Australian way. Never giving up, getting on top of the players. getting behind each other, backing each other up in the field.
Yeah.
That's the Australian mentality right there, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100% it is.
Yeah, you kind of spend your time here in India. I think about 6 months now, like throughout the year. Are you here for 6 months? 6 months there, or you would say?
Oh, here
3,
and
4?
there. I'm in and out.
Yeah.
I did a month and a half here,
Okay.
and then I'll come back for about 2.5 months.
Yeah, IPL.
Yeah, and then before I know it, I'll have be back here for the bloody BGT series. So I might as well get permanent residency.
Yeah,
to be
I was
honest.
which is what I was building up to. Do you think that you kind of have started enjoying the Indian culture, Indian food, would want to stay here for a longer period of time?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe if I settled down with someone,
Yeah.
Maybe find myself like a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and could move here,
Yeah.
then I'd consider it 100%. I mean, it'll be a huge cultural change, but I always find when I'm close to getting home, I'll be like, shit, I could just live here.
Yeah.
I always find I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
At the back end of my trips. Why? I don't know, but I'm like, geez, I wouldn't mind staying.
Yeah.
So maybe one day it's on the cards.
Yeah.
Now it's probably a little bit too early.
Yeah.
So maybe in my late 20s,
Yeah.
maybe 27, 28, 29.
Yeah.
If I'm in a good position, I might be open to the idea of moving. I mean, I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, interesting.
So, I mean, I'll probably have to get an Aadhaar card, wouldn't I?
Aadhaar card. Oh,
Aadhaar.
yeah. Yeah, but which is you don't have so many things to ask you, and now that you say that you maybe in the future would want to kind of be here. You've traveled a couple of stadiums. You've traveled or been to, I would say, couple of stadiums abroad as well as in Australia. If you had to pick one stadium here in India, which one's your favorite so far?
It's a tough one. I think a lot of people, Sunrisers fans, would be hoping I'd say Ranjiv Gandhi.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that stadium.
Ranjiv
I think it's amazing, but I just think the history of Wankhede,
Yeah.
you can't really go past that. The closeness of the stadium to the pitch.
Yeah.
I think it just gives an atmosphere which is unmatched. And we
Unreal.
saw it last night.
Yeah.
Jeez, when they have that shut off at 10 o'clock, doesn't stop the crowd. They're singing
Yeah.
Vande Mataram, all these Indian chants. It's pretty amazing. So I'd probably say up there, Wankhede for me as the best stadium. But don't get me wrong, I've been to a heap.
Yeah.
Chinnaswamy is also quite
Chinnaswamy is great.
Cheepak Stadium as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a heap of good stadiums over here in India.
But
But for me,
what do you think of the Ahmedabad stadium?
it's hit and miss. I like it because you can walk around the stadium.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not just little stands here and there.
Yeah.
But-
I think it's too much of a walk, man. Like I think to get to the stadium and get
Oh,
inside.
jeez!
I think
After a game of cricket
it's
in
painful.
Narendra Modi, it is painful.
Yeah.
Getting out, jeez.
Yeah.
Far out. I
I've
wish I
had
could get wings and just fly over the massive
Yeah.
crowd. It's insane getting out. That's why you always wait like half an hour.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're
I
gonna
think
be there an hour in the
it's
crowd.
tiresome after putting in all the efforts to watch a game and then come out like that. I think I never want to go to that stadium.
Oh, well, that's like the T20 World Cup. There'll be 140,000 people if
Yeah.
India lose.
Yeah.
It's going to be a depressing walk, let's be honest, right there.
Yeah. If we can also get to another side of this, right, which is the content creation bit from an educational standpoint. I'm looking at a lot of young creators now who are looking at Jake and be like, you know what, that's Jake from Australia. He's here in India, he's creating content, he's doing well for himself. What if we want to do the same thing? What if we want to be like him? Is this like a viable career option in terms of cricket, in terms of what you're doing? Does it pay you well?
Look, I'm probably only seeing the benefits now, kind
Yeah.
of thing, in terms of trying to make it a proper income.
Yeah.
But look, between that, there's been a lot of work put into it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember back in 2024 IPL, I was spending after games 4 hours editing, and I wasn't probably the best at editing.
Right.
But I was doing that, making the content, and I just wanted to get it out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, for me, my advice is just, you got to just grind. You just got to continue posting the content.
Yeah.
It's not stopping.
Yeah.
You might get a traction of, say, 20 videos, but in the moment you stop, that's when all that work's done for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's why I look at it, I'm like, shit, I put in a heap of effort and work. I'm going to continue posting, because
Interesting.
what's the point of stopping?
Absolutely.
And you just got to put in that time and effort. And there's always going to be, like, I remember this message when I first started being like, shit, I want to make videos.
Yeah.
And someone said, don't expect anything from the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Anything you get within that time period is a bonus.
Yeah.
And that's just the way you've got to look at things, that outlook you've got to have.
Yeah.
You know, if you're willing to put that time and effort in, then you're obviously you're gonna see results. You work hard.
Do you think you're reaping the rewards yet, or there's still time?
I think there's still time for me.
Okay.
I'd like to think I'm still relatively young in my content creation journey.
Yeah.
But look, for me, I try not to commercialize myself as much because I want to have my own identity. I want to have my own
personality.
Personality. I want to be able to control what I'm posting.
Yeah.
You know, and I want people to enjoy my videos. If it's just brand stuff, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, obviously you want to make money here and there, but I want to keep it organic.
Yeah.
And I think doing the street interviews, etc., and it makes me post organic content. You know, interactions in real life with people before cricket games, posting in real life reactions at cricket stadiums.
Yeah.
You know, watching say Abhishek Sharma score a 50 or Travis Head a century.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's what makes my own identity. Making my vlogs in the stadium, getting people to see the experience for IPL.
Yeah.
I remember I started YouTube purely because my grandparents wanted to see my travels.
Really?
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. They wanted to see what I got up to when I went away.
And where are your grandparents?
They're back home in Perth.
Okay.
Yeah. So they watch on
Online.
their little iPad.
That is sweet, man.
That is.
Sweet.
So that's why I started YouTube.
Yeah.
Was just purely for my grandparents to
keep up with you.
To keep up and and my family as well.
That is mad. That is a story.
That's it. So if I'm like getting 1 million subscribers, hopefully one day.
Yeah, it's like grandparents sharing it.
And I'll be like, you know what?
Grandchild.
That's why I did it for my grandparents. That's literally the reason why I started YouTube. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube now.
Yeah.
I remember I had a conversation with my pop after I came back from the 2024 World Cup. And he goes, oh, we don't have Instagram and we don't know how to use it. We don't have Facebook as well, but
so sweet.
We've got YouTube on there. Is there any chance you can post your videos on YouTube? And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to start doing that. And since then, he watches every single YouTube video. He tells me, oh, geez, that guy at the cricket when you met him during the IPL, he was crazy, wasn't he? And little experiences like that makes my heart warm and why I do it. So.
Do your parents and grandparents want to travel to India anytime?
My dad, I've been to India a couple of times. My dad, and he loves it.
Oh.
It's a great experience.
I haven't seen your pop on any of your videos.
Well, a couple of them you might have. Sometimes I remember it was quite sweet, and God bless him. But in Chennai, we did a video before Australia versus India, and I didn't have a filmer at the time, so Dad had to get behind the camera.
Okay.
And I remember he was struggling to keep it up when I was moving. He goes, "Oh, do you have to move so fast?" God bless him. He was trying to keep it all in frame, and then people would talk to him, and he'd forget to hit record whilst I'm doing the interviews. But yeah, God bless him. He did try his best during that time.
Yeah, that's
he's taken the camera behind the camera a couple of times. But yeah, he's travelled with me throughout that 2023 World Cup, which I wasn't making content during, and during the Women's World Cup last year where India won it. So we did that whole World Cup, which was amazing. So it's pretty good. My mum, she knows she couldn't handle India.
Yeah.
My brothers, they couldn't handle India.
Okay.
My grandparents, they've said, my pops expressed interest in coming to India.
Okay.
But whether he does or not, I'm not sure. You probably have to have like a proper tour organised for him. Whereas I'm just like, no, I'll organise my own stuff.
Yeah. On this entire, like a content creation journey that you're having right now, getting into YouTube, getting into Instagram, trying to scale this, what's been your biggest learning curve of sorts?
I think it's quality over quantity in terms of posting videos.
That's a good one.
See, when I first started making videos, I'm like, shit, I've got to post 6 videos here and there. I've got to get them all out. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. Whereas now I'm like, you know what, that's not the way to go. Yeah. You want quality over quantity.
Yeah.
That's just, you don't want 6 videos. If you merge those 6 videos into one good videos with the best fan reactions, with the best moments, that's what works best. That's probably my biggest learning curve. Yeah. I wish I knew it, and it's clean editing as well. Yeah. Just a little caption at the top.
Yeah.
Little captions down the bottom there with the monologue that people are saying.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Keep
it.
it clean.
Keep it clean. don't try and put all these different frames on it to make it fancy, because sometimes simple is better.
Yeah.
That's also another
Less
learning
is more,
curve.
they say.
Less is more. Less is more 100% when it comes to making videos and posting on the internet, because people, want to see a clean video. They don't want to see things like filled with sponsorship on the side or whatever. So I think for me, definitely quality over quantity and less is more in terms of editing. That's the two biggest learning curves I've encountered throughout since I've started.
Interesting. Also want to try and break it down for everyone who's kind of watching you. Who's Jake as like a person? What are your values, morals? What kind of keeps you going in life? What do you like to do in your pastime? What kind of person you are? If I try and get into your head.
Oh, jeez. I like to think I'm a chill guy.
Yeah.
I've got the patience of a saint. Nothing really phases me.
Okay.
And pastime, back home, catch up for lunch with mates, go play some pool, relax and chill. Try and go to the gym as much as I can to try and at least maintain my physique, But and I do like to party.
Yeah.
I do like a good night out.
Yeah, I think every time you've been here in India, I think that's the first story I see. Who wants to chill with me?
Yeah, anyone keen to party in Mumbai? Where's a good party spots in Delhi?
Yeah.
No, I do like a good party. I do like a good night out. I do like creating memories like that, because I think 40 years down the track, when I'm 60, I want to go back to my recap back to my 20s.
Yeah.
And be like, jeez.
Yeah.
I did some dumb shit back then. And I'll sit around and I'll laugh. I remember a trip to KL. I'm not going to expose anything, but went with a couple of mates, and I don't know if you've seen The Hangover, but it was exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly like the Hangover movie.
That's
number
great.
2 in Bangkok.
Yeah, I watched The Hangover. Yeah.
We'll end it there. I'll zip my lips. Some things are best left disclosed, unspoken.
Yeah.
But things like that. We still chat about it today, and. Yeah, I just like to have fun. I think more than anything, I love enjoying life, and I love making people smile through my videos or through my own eyes, kind of thing, with what I post on my content creation.
Yeah.
And look, I wouldn't even I know you keep going content creation, but I didn't even kind of class myself as a content creator.
It just happened.
Well, yeah, it just happened. But I'm just a guy that likes cricket, loves traveling around India. Put those two together. I thought, I'm going to make some videos out of it. And, it's just amazing. The best gift, like I said earlier, is people coming up to me at crew games or in the streets or whatever. Sometimes even at airports saying, geez, I love your content. I love your videos.
Yeah.
And if you told me 2.5, 3 years ago that people would be coming up saying that, or using my surname, Jeakings Vlogs. And that's why I did I probably should have had another name for my YouTube, but it was just something simple for like I said, for my grandparents. And it was yesterday, this guy, I was in the hotel and he goes, oh, I watch your vlogs. You're from the channel Jeakings Vlogs. And I thought, oh my God, that is, it's amazing, and that gives me the happiness to keep on going. Yeah. And the moment I don't enjoy making videos, whether that's in, who knows, 2 years, I go, I've had enough, I've had a good run. Yeah. Then I know my time's up in terms of content creation, and I try and help people back home in Australia. There's a guy in Mumbai here. His name's Dal. He's from Australia as well, and he's trying to get into content creation, so I'm trying to help him.
Interesting.
Another guy, one of my best mates, Shanners.
I think he was with you.
Yeah, he came to India and Sri Lanka, and that was amazing. We're like two peas in a pod. Oh. We just complement each other. We know what we're thinking, what each other's thinking. Yeah. And I've tried to help him as much as I can in terms of getting him opportunities, with KO Sports, where we interviewed Brett Lee out the front of Optus Stadium. And he was just the most nonchalant bloke I've ever met. He didn't care about anything. He's what's going on, mate? Just chatting like we've known each other for years. Wow. And every time I see him now, he always asks how I am. Matthew Hayden as well. Yeah. See him in the airports all the time. Comes up, Jake, mate, what's going on? How you been? Yeah. He's telling me about what's went on with that sandpaper incident with that Pakistani guy. Yeah. And just, conversations which, I feel like he's my mate. Yeah. The way we talk to each other. Yeah. I wouldn't think he's a cricketer. Yeah. Obviously he's done wonderful things for Australian cricket. But the way I see him, he's just one of the boys. Yeah. The way I speak to him, we're swearing with each other, it's just
because
crazy
as kids, I'm sure looked at these people on TV and, idealized them probably, and now you get a chance to speak with them, kind of maybe. Bro. I think it's a different feeling.
Michael Vaughan, I was sitting with in the commentary box, in the last test in the Australia versus England in the Ashes.
Okay.
I was just chilling with him. He goes, oh, mate, what's going on? Although they're asking me what's going on, not the opposite way. Brett Lee, I remember watching him, I think it was against Perth Scorchers, so my hometown team. And I remember his final over, and he had pulled out the chainsaw. We needed one run to win. Then Moses on Reeks missed the run out to make it go to the super over, and Scorchers ended up winning. And I remember, watching him on TV. My mum loves Brett Lee. Wow. Loves Brett Lee. She would. She'd probably divorce my dad and marry him if given the opportunity to go. So I think any Australian woman would, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
I think he still looks good, man. Like the way
what he does.
Adam Gilchrist is another, cool personality
from my hometown.
Michael Clark. I think the way they maintain
themselves. And they've just got the knowledge of cricketers as well.
Yeah.
Aaron Finch.
Yeah.
What that guy says, like his analysis, is just next level.
Bang on.
Oh, bang on. Julia Price as well, one of the women.
Yeah.
Analysis as well, commentators.
Yeah.
They just their insights into it's amazing. Ravi Shastri.
Yeah.
He's one of my favourite commentators.
Trace a bullet.
Oh, some of the stuff he comes up with, and even Sunil Gavaskar.
Yeah.
His commentary is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just meeting those people. Surya Kumar.
Yeah.
I kid you not, every time he sees me, he gets so excited. Starts waving at me. I remember I was up on the second.
Who is this?
Surya Kumar Yadav.
Okay, Surya Kumar Yadav.
Sky.
Yeah.
Surya Dada.
Yeah.
I remember during the IPL last year, he saw me.
Yeah.
He pointed at me.
Yeah.
And I go that. He goes, what are you doing here? And started waving and stuff. He gets so excited.
Sweet.
So I haven't seen him made eye contact with him this World Cup. So I'm hoping to.
Yeah.
Because he's just such a good bloke.
Once he lifts the trophy.
Once he wins the trophy, I'm like, can I get a photo, Sky? And I'll be like pretending. I'd actually be really happy for him. Really, really happy for him because he's like properly one of the good blokes.
Yeah.
In terms of he's got no arrogance. As far as I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Associated with him.
Yeah.
He's someone that seems like an actual really, really good person.
Yeah, I think he's another player who's been patient for quite some time.
Yeah.
And he made his debut, very later on
and he's worked
in his
way
career.
Up. And it would make me really happy to see him
and now
lift
to
the
be
trophy.
The captain of the Indian team, I think.
Exactly right.
It
kind of reminds me of like Pat Cummins.
Yeah.
Like Pat Cummins is just like not a great cricketer, but he's just a really good human being.
Yeah. He's quiet, man. He's like a calm personality.
He's a very calm personality. He's got the patience as well as a saint.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him in the mall once, just walking around.
Okay.
People are coming up to him, and he goes, "Oh, he's still traveling around for the IPL." And he go, "Yep." I said, "You better get a win on the weekend." He goes, "Oh, we'll try our best, mate." And he got a win on the weekend, so I'd like to think that was dedicated for me.
Wow.
That win, but he's kind of gives the same aura as Sky in terms of just their personalities. They're
true.
just really peaceful, calm individuals, and they're just good people as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes good cricketers. Not the arrogance, because you don't want to see an arrogant cricketer.
Yeah.
You want to see, because the fans make everything.
Yeah.
In terms of we come to watch the stadium. And the fans, without fans, there's nothing.
Yeah, because you mentioned fans, right? You've seen a lot of Indian fans as well, and I had this kind of question with me. Did you have a perspective initially that Indian fans are too loud? Because, Indian fans are out there.
There's no way to put it. They're very passionate.
Yeah.
Very passionate sometimes. Like yesterday, this guy turns around and I've never cheered for England. I was just sitting there, watching the game. I'd cheer a good shot or whatever, good sportsmanship. And he probably turns around, screams my face, "Come on in here!" And I go, "Brother, I'm not even English." I couldn't give anything about England. I think Indian fans are very, very passionate. Very, very passionate. That's the word I describe them. They're very loud as well, especially at like CSK.
Yeah.
Every time those whistles, jeez.
Downtown South, it's a different ball game.
Oh, bro, I go back to the hotel in Chennai, and all I hear in my ears when I'm trying to sleep is just this whistling.
Yeah.
Just this whistling.
Yeah.
But no, I think Indian fans are next level. Next level in terms of passion. And I think it's really good. And six is hit. And they start screaming, etc. And I think that's what makes cricket really good. And that's the IPL makes it so different to the other T20 leagues around the world.
Yeah,
it's proper passion.
Yeah, do you support any other team apart from SRH?
No, I do love a good IPL shirt.
Yeah.
I do love wearing them. But the Sunrisers are my team for life now.
Wow.
I'm tempted to get a Sunrisers tattoo or something on my leg.
Oh, man.
Yeah, proper SRH fan now.
Yeah.
Just a love Hyderabad. Show me. Walk in the stadium, I've got a proper bright orange suit. So it makes me stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
But no, Sunrisers, the love they've shown me, the fans, you know, every time I walk into that stadium in Hyderabad, everyone's waving, how are you, Jake, etc. They get really excited. So look, I couldn't ask for a better IPL team. I do like Mumbai Indians. I have a soft spot for them.
Okay.
I've got a lot of friends that support them, but same token, nothing would make me more happy than Sunrisers beating Mumbai Indians.
Oh,
all right, so let's just put that out there.
Interesting.
I would, because I've got a lot of friends that support Mumbai.
Okay.
Same as RCB.
Yeah.
RCB fans don't really like me because I've never really shown much love to RCB.
It's like a southern derby of sorts that they have.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like there's this meme. Me at my funeral just in normal clothes. me on a SRH versus RCB game day in a proper full-on suit. But yeah, RCB fans don't really like me, which is fine. So beating RCB this year in the IPL, that's why it was really important last year when we beat RCB, even though RCB went on to win.
And they're back at the Chinnaswamy this year.
Exactly. So it's going to be very, I think, well, I wouldn't say aggressive, but I think it's
interesting.
It's going to be very interesting going back there.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping Sunrisers can. I think they'll go undefeated. Yeah, they'll go undefeated throughout the season. They won't lose a game. I don't think.
Never tell.
I'm pretty
Is
confident
there
on that.
any kind of a player that's kind of struck a chord with you? Someone who's kind of maybe changed your life of sorts, or someone who you think is right there for you on top? Any player?
Like Australian player as well?
Anyone. It could be anyone across
probably
a sport.
Probably Paddy Cummins, I'd say. I think just him as a role model.
Okay.
Someone you look up to in terms of what he's doing. Well, I love Pat. I think he's one. I know sometimes you might cop a little bit of stick from people back home in terms of his beliefs, but I think Pat's just a really good bloke, really good cricketer, and he's someone you can, look up to as a role model. And I think, he's just a good person, all-round person, And for me, during the 2023 World Cup, we stayed till the end, and Pat Cummins came over and took a photo with us with the trophy. And to me, that struck a chord in me.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, Paddy Cummins, you're an absolute legend. And since then, nothing but respect for the big man. If he told me to run through a brick wall, I'd run through that brick wall, but not just because it's Pat Cummins, but because there's probably a reason behind it.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking there's probably a reason behind him asking me that. And if Pat Cummins asks me to do something, then I trust Pat Cummins. That's just it. Trust in Pat. That's all I've got to say. And he's a silencer for a reason. Yeah. And the aura associated with Pat Cummins does not come close to any other player in the world.
Yeah.
When Pat Cummins wasn't even playing in the T20 World Cup, Rajasthan Brawlers go make a post about him, saying it was funny to see with Pat Cummins in there laughing. Name another player with that amount of aura that hasn't even played in a World Cup campaign,
but he's already
still being trolled.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to finish it off on that. Just name another player with that aura.
Yeah, I think it's something different about players who maybe speak less, I would say, or who have like a calm demeanor.
Their actions do the talking.
Yeah, the actions do.
Their cricketing do the talking.
I think that's totally brilliant and totally different. Yep. We've tried to get to you in terms of understanding from a content creation space what it is, trying to understand what it is, from a fan perspective, from an Indian fan culture, from an Aussie fan culture of sorts. We've kind of hit these things. Also tried to get to you to understand the kind of chill person that you are. I think from your videos, I can tell that you're a very easygoing, calm, kind of personality of sorts, and you have this welcoming thing about you, which is very few people have, that you can kind of go and approach them. I think that's something that
thank you.
You can tell from your videos that you have, which kind of leads me to my last and final segment, which is where do you think you want to take this? Where do you want to take this vlogging bit, or vox pop of sorts? Have you pictured anything for yourself?
Look, long term, I'd love to go around the world just watching different cricket leagues.
Interesting.
One league I really want to go to is in the Nepal Premier League.
Nepal.
That is, I reckon this year.
I'm gonna hit you up for that, bro. I can, kind of maybe sort you for the next year.
Done. I reckon next Nepal Premier League. Count me in. I reckon I'm gonna be there. I've seen videos.
Yeah, it is a different.
And it looks insane. And look, I'll be honest, I want to experience that.
Yeah.
So look, pending everything, I'm hoping to attend that. But just in general, I just want to follow and grow cricket. Especially Australian cricket.
Yeah.
and be that guy that gets noticed and be like, you know what, he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all that is for me.
You want to get everyone's opinions at different cricket.
Yeah, and just I try to remain neutral, although there's a massive bias here between for my country, Australia.
Yeah.
You know, there's a massive bias. I won't lie there.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes when England lose, I do like to play
Yeah.
play a little bit, have a little bit of fun. But yeah, no, I do try to remain neutral when it's not Australia playing. I will be honest, but you know, sometimes I do let the emotions get ahead of me in terms of cheering for India. You know, yesterday or being a little bit excited. But yeah, no, I just want to really try and grow cricket and get that popularity.
Yeah.
You know, associate back into the Australian cricket. You know, make people be like, gee, I really want to come and watch cricket, you know, because if they've seen one of my videos, etc. And same as leagues around the world, I'd love nothing more for the opportunity than be able to just go and make content out of them. Whether it's just, even just being in the stands, it doesn't have to be the players or the different teams.
Yeah.
Just, I'd be happy going around interviewing the fans, say the European Premier League, the Hong Kong Sixers, you know, the MLC. And hopefully one day, you know, I'm really trying my best, to try and get as much good content. I think this World Cup's been amazing. I was close to going home. But because after Australia lost, you know, and everything with that incident with the Pakistan guy, but I'm really glad I stayed and stuck it out, and I'm really proud of myself for how I conducted myself after that.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
it would have been easy to just kind of play the victim or get down in the dumps. But I thought, I'm going to make the best out of this situation.
Yeah,
I'm really going to try and hit the ground running for the next 2.5 weeks in the remaining campaign, and just try and get as many good videos out there of engagement. And that's something I'm really proud on.
Is it difficult for you sometimes to kind of fund your trips?
Oh, it is. Like I work back at home, I've worked 2 jobs.
Okay.
You know, to try and make
2 jobs at home.
2 jobs back home.
Oh,
yeah,
crazy.
on top of what I do.
Okay.
And I have some days where I don't even get time to look at my social media because I'm working from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at one of my first jobs, and then my second job I have a 30-minute gap, and I'm working 3:30 to say 10:30.
Whoa.
You know, trying to put as many hours as I can to try and fund. Because it's not cheap.
What do you do?
So I work at Optus Stadium doing logistics, and I also work at the airport back home doing customer service and baggage handling.
Crazy.
So yeah, gee, my life is full on. Some people go, "How do you do it?"
Yeah,
you know, I love it.
I was coming to that. How do you do it? How do you manage
I love it. I love it. There's no point where I want to be sitting down. You know, I'll always want to be doing something. Like when I'm here, sometimes I might, spend like 45 minutes after I wake up scrolling or whatever, checking what's going on. But I always want to be doing something. Yeah. You know, when I get to Ahmedabad tonight, I message some friends, let's go for a cruise or whatever. You know, let's do something, because at no point do I want to be sitting down
idle,
in the hotel, because what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, and you get one life.
Yeah.
You know, so I want to make the most
maximum,
of that. Make the most of that, because who knows what's around the corner? Yeah. Who knows? You know, something might happen for me today, but at least I know I've lived as much as I can, the fullest life that I can. Yeah. And that's what I basically value myself off of doing as well.
Super, man, crazy. You've had like a great journey, and the fact that you're putting in, double the efforts to try and kind of fund this as well. I think that's a great story in itself.
It's only the beginning. We're only just beginning. This is like a year and a half, 2 years. So we're only just beginning the journey.
Crazy.
We're at the start. This is the start. Hopefully 20 years down the track, I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
When I'm 40.
In case if somebody did give you a chance to play, would you take it?
Oh yeah, 100%. I did get a message from the Entertainers Cricket League.
Oh.
But I think that's I don't know what's going on there. I haven't seen anything about that league. But if I could play 100%, if there was like a content creators league, I would be full on. I'm not a bad cricketer as well. Like I don't know if you've seen some of my videos. And like when I play box cricket, people
I think I was the backyard,
pleasantly surprised. Backyard, you can't really judge me off that. That's because it's difficult. We play so many different rules. Right. So anything on the full 6, you really got to try and play it on the ground, proper cricket shots. Okay. But yeah, no, I'm a pretty decent cricketer. I think I'm a decent cricketer. Maybe other people might have a few different more opinions of me. Probably the people who are averse as well. They'll be like, what's this guy talking about? He's full of himself. But
it's all back home, right?
Yeah, it's all back home. I mean, look, if I get an opportunity to play in a league here somewhere, I'd love to do it. Love to do it.
Which is one of your top, your favorite leagues, because I think from where you come, it's the BBL, then you have the 100. I'm sure you've been part of the IPL now, around. If you had to keep one league on top, which would it be?
I think definitely IPL. Yeah. Definitely IPL. Anyone that says anything differently is lying to you. Yeah. Or they haven't seen it, or experienced it. Yeah. I think IPL, in terms of just the hype, you know, the passion associated with supporting your team.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone forgets they're Indian.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I'm a Hyderabadi, or I'm a RCBM, or I'm a Mumbaika or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is. And I
Yeah.
think when the IPL finals campaign comes around, that's when it really comes up.
Yeah.
Really comes up, because it's like proper rivalry passion.
Yeah.
You know, and if I saw Sunrisers versus Mumbai here, I kid you not, I would make the full most out of it, you know. And there's hopefully a few plans for Sunrisers fans this year.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of away days where we can get a good bunch of fans together, make some noise, kind of like what the Borough Army do.
Wow.
In terms of making their presence known.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully going to be making, we'll be sorting with SRH fans official, one of the pages on Instagram.
Wow.
One of my good mates.
That's
Rakshit.
interesting.
Yeah. So one of my best mates, Rakshit, he runs it.
Okay.
So we're in talks trying to organise things with that. We've done a few games together over the season, but this time we're going to do every single game.
Nice.
For Sunrisers, and really get behind the boys.
Crazy.
And hopefully it'll be all worth it when we see SRH win or lift the trophy at the end of the IPL.
Well, thank you so much, bro, for kind of being here. For kind of giving us I would say insight on what your life looks like. I'm sure from what people see outside normally, everyone think it's easy traveling, it's easy moving around. I think that's not always the case, because I come from a space like that. I know
Going through Indian
things,
airports, I just
the kind of things that you need to sit and kind of create and then dish it out for people to kind of enjoy it. I think it's difficult.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've been doing it, having 2 jobs, coming here, giving your 100%, for the game, it's highly commendable. For people, kind of watching you, your story, your learnings, I'm hoping they can pick some bits from you as well and try and implicate that, in the stuff that they do. And I'm hoping that a year from now we meet again and there's a different story that you can tell us.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for having me, Stalin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.